Before we begin, if you believe real experience still matters, if you believe people, not buzzwords, keep the world running, please take 1 second and subscribe to this channel because stories like this, they don't get told by the people on stage. They get told by the ones behind the systems. The ones who keep the lights on. Why name's Doug Brennan, that I'm 51 years old. And 4 hours ago, they tried to force me into retirement that I didn't raise my voice. Didn't slam a door. Didn't threaten anyone that I just watched and waited. Let me tell you what actually happened. Tea started Tuesday morning, 7:13 a.m. to be exact. Same time as always. I was standing in the break room, pouring burnt office coffee into the same mug I'd used for 16 years. Chipped handle, stained inside, that on the side, faded but still readable. Uptime is still true, far as I was concerned. That morning, the company had just crossed $18 billion in revenue. No celebration. No announcement. No company-wide email. Just 6 engineers standing around an old table, splitting gas station donuts like we always did. Quiet nods, tired smiles, because people like us don't get confetti, we get expectations. $18 billion. I remember the night in 2019 when lightning took out 2 data centers at 72 hours awake. No software, no sleep, just alarms screaming and systems bleeding data faster than we could patch them. I remembered missing my son's championship basketball game because customer systems were hemorrhaging. I remembered my wife's face. Every time I chose servers over family dinner. 16 years of that. 16 years of being the guy who stayed. When everyone else went home at 5. I opened my inbox just to forward the revenue numbers to my old mentor. That's when I saw it. Subject, organizational realignment initiative. I didn't open it right away. You work corporate long enough, you learn the language. Realignment means that somebody's getting shoved out the door. I clicked, and there was .my salary. Cut 40%. My office. Reassigned. My new title. Transition advisor, which is corporate speak for pack your stuff, but train your replacement first. And my job? Handed to Preston Aldridge, the CEO's son. 27 years old. Online MBA. Hands that had never racked a server. Never debugged a failure at 3 in the morning. I stared at the screen. My hands didn't shake. My breathing stayed steady. I blinked once. Real slow, like processing a system error. Then I archived the email. No reply. No anger, just a thin smile. The kind that could cut drywall. Something clicked inside me right then. Okay, I thought, we're doing this. That afternoon, they announced it at the all-hands meeting. Free bagels and coffee. Like carbs could soften the blow. People lined the walls, paper cups in hand, pretending this was normal. Then Preston walked in. Perfect hair. Sneakers that cost more than my truck payment. He bounced to the mic. Throwing finger guns like this was a startup pitch. Hey team, call me Press. Whatever works. My skin crawled. He paced the stage like he'd watched too many TED Talks. We're going to modernize our infrastructure. Make everything agile. Get rid of some old legacy architecture holding us back. Legacy architecture, that's what he called the system I built. The one that hadn't crashed in 4 years. The one processing 200 million transactions a day without breaking a sweat. Then he butchered client names. Mispronounced Garrison Financial. 3 different ways. $80 million account. Maybe we'll rebrand them, he laughed. Fresh start, right? A few nervous chuckles. One guy coughed. Then the slide changed. My chest tightened. T was my infrastructure diagram. My work. Dumped into some flashy template. Boubla fonts. Cartoon smiley faces. 16 years of routing logic. Reduced to 5 emojis. Titled, Customer Happiness Pipeline. I didn't move. Didn't blink. Just drew slow circles on my notepad. Questions? Preston asked. I raised my hand, real slow. When you say modernize, I asked calmly, are we talking about failover protocols? Or just marketing? He laughed. Both, I guess. Innovation everywhere, Doug. After the meeting, my manager caught me by the windows. Can you help Preston get up to speed? She asked. Show him how things work. I smiled. Sure, I said. I'll make sure he understands. Everything. That night, I sat in my truck for 10 minutes, just staring at the steering wheel, called my wife. They're pushing me out, I said. Long pause. Then she asked the real question. What about Sarah's tuition? My daughter, sophomore year. Payment due in 6 weeks. I'm working on it, I said. And I was just not the way they expected. I got home around 8 that night. Microwaved, leftover chili. Sat alone at the kitchen table, laptop open. Bank account pulled up, retirement savings. 401k. Numbers that suddenly felt smaller than they used to. If I took their severance, we'd be okay for maybe 18 months. After that, we'd be burning through everything. Sarah had 2 more years of college. My wife's back surgery was scheduled for next month. Good insurance made it possible. No job, no coverage. They weren't just firing me. They were gambling with my family's future. Wrong move. I closed a laptop and walked down to the basement. Behind the washing machine, there was a cabinet nobody ever opened. Inside, my old home server, built it myself back in 2009, when the company still ran on duct tape and hope. I powered it up. Fans word. Lights blinked. Took a minute to boot, but it came online clean. Typed in my admin password. Still worked. I stared at the terminal. Green text blinking on black, like it was waiting for me. All right, I said out loud. Let's build some redundancy. By mid-April, people started disappearing. Melissa from QA, Dante in customer ops, even Phil, the walking alert system. 12 years of knowledge. Gone overnight. Desks cleared. Slack accounts dead before the chairs went cold. HR called it strategic restructuring. Like we were a startup pivoting, not a profitable company cutting expensive experience. Preston stayed. Of course he did. He strolled the office like everything was fine, working on his big idea. Something called Customer Vibe Dynamics. T had a logo. A cartoon dog. Wearing a headset. Nobody knew what it actually did. Not sure Preston did either. I kept my head down. Email short. Reactions empty. But I watched who stopped getting meeting invites. Watched who started packing boxes at 4:30. Heard the pauses in HR voices when they scheduled quick chats. You learn to hear those pauses after enough years. Point one night. My son called while I was in the basement. Dad, Mom says you're leaving the company. Something like that. I said, typing commands without looking. You okay? Yeah, I said, handling it. Long pause. Let me know if you need anything, all right? 22 years old, trying to take care of his old man. That did something to me. Will do, buddy, I said. Thanks. After we hung up, I went back to work, piece by piece. I rerouted critical dependencies into a Vault cluster I'd built years ago, off the main grid. Encrypted, isolated. Every login, every change, logged locally. Not on company servers, just a file on my machine that I titled it. Failsafe Protocol 2025, they wanted me gone. Fine, but they were about to learn what happens when you fire the guy who built the foundation. IT came for me on a Thursday. 2 HR reps walked me into a glass conference room. One smiling too hard. One looking dead inside. Fake flowers sat on the table. Doug, we're formalizing your transition, the smiley one said. You've been so valuable. The dead-eyed one slid a folder toward me. Just need your signature. I opened it, scanned the pages, early retirement, with penalties, severance tied to silence. A clause saying I couldn't discuss systems I personally built. I didn't blink. I'm still the only operator on 3 routing endpoints, I said calmly. 2 of those run our biggest clients. Dead eyes frowned. We thought the new team had that covered. I let the silence sit there, then slid the folder back. I'll think about it. That night, I pulled out an old shoebox. Inside, printed documentation, real paper, license terms from 9 years ago. Right on page 1, rights reserved to individual contributor.my name. My signature, still binding that I scanned it. Saved copies in 3 places. Then added one more line to my protocol, just in case they pushed harder. The real fun started with a Slack message, 9:47 p.m. for Preston. All caps. Fire emojis. Confidence dripping off the screen that he'd renamed core clusters in testing. No backups. No rollback. Just vibes. I forwarded it to my personal email. Subject line, exhibit, AB the next afternoon. Dashboards were lagging, BY evening. Everything felt wrong. Tickets rolled in, low priority. UI acting funny. I almost laughed. Preston had cut the connection between names and routing logic. The system was searching for endpoints that didn't exist, and instead of asking for help, they doubled down a week later. Big meeting, leadership smiles. Investor buzz. Can we show off the new cluster names? Preston asked. Absolutely, the CEO said. Investors eat that stuff up. I raised my hand. There's instability in the routing bridge, I said evenly. Probably shouldn't do a live demo yet. The CEO waved me off. We need to trust new leadership. And that was it. Green light, live demo, Friday morning. That night, I sat at my basement terminal, stared at the screen for a full minute. Then I scheduled silence. Not destruction, not chaos, just sleep. Timed perfectly, 9 a.m. right when the cameras would be rolling, that I leaned back, exhaled, and waited. Friday morning came fast, too fast for some people. Not fast enough for others. 7:42 a.m. I walked into the building the same way I always had, coffee in hand, flannel shirt under my jacket, steel-toed boots from the warehouse days. Morning, Doug, the receptionist said. Barely looking up, the office was buzzing. Catered breakfast rolling in. Executive assistants rushing around. A videographer setting lights in the main conference room. Someone had mounted a teleprompter next to the CEO's monitor. Big day. Nobody paid me any attention that I already didn't exist. I passed the collaboration pod, where they'd shoved my desk. Y name was still on the whiteboard. Half erased, covered by a doodle of a rocket ship. Grabbed my coffee. Walked straight past the excitement, down the quiet hallway towards systems operations. That MY badge still worked. They'd never revoked access to the old server room. Probably forgot it was there. Facilities hadn't updated the maps since 2020. Inside, cool air, steady hum, rows of servers blinking like city lights at night. That I sat at the terminal I'd installed myself back in 2009. Tapped the keyboard. The screen came alive. Vault relay, standby kill switch, armed next ping. T-00:13:47. I leaned back in the chair with a broken spring. The one nobody else would sit in. Outside, executives were laughing. Preston was high-fiving someone. The CEO practiced his speech in a mirror. 8:51 a.m. I logged in one last time. Checked everything, didn't shut it down. Just minimized the window. Let it wait. 8:55 a.m. Slack lit up. This call is going to be fire. It would be. I stood up, smoothed my shirt, finished my coffee. Nothing left to do but watch. Good morning to our shareholders, clients, and partners around the world. The CEO said into the camera, smiling like he'd won the lottery. Today marks a transformative moment. 9:00:00. The words were still leaving his mouth when it happened. Across 38 countries, every customer dashboard froze. Billing portals stopped responding. API call spun and went nowhere. Error messages. No warnings, just silence. Behind the camera, someone gasped. Another voice swore under their breath. That a support rep stood up. so fast she knocked over her coffee. The big display screen went gray. Broken icon, nothing else. Someone whispered, "The demo's not working." I stayed at my shared desk, back straight, face calm. The CEO kept reading his script. And thanks to our innovative new infrastructure, we're down. Sharp. Panicked. The CEO blinked. What? Everything. All customer systems. The whole client-facing infrastructure. Preston was tapping his tablet like he could restart reality. It was fine yesterday. Maybe the cache? The proxy layer? Someone from PR made a choking sound. Twitter's exploding. Hashtag billion-dollar blackout is trending. The room went from professional to chaos in 15 seconds. Phones ringing. People running. Executives whispering like conspirators that I stood up, walked to the coffee station, refilled my mug, stirred creamer slow, deliberate like I had all the time in the world. They checked the logs that hack. Novrich used. Nothing. Empty silence where the heartbeat should have been. Then someone burst out of the emergency meeting room. Face pale. Who still has access to the legacy routing shell? Who actually understands how it works? I took a slow sip. Waited. I might, I said finally. Every head snapped toward me. Where's the control interface? The CO. Snap. I pulled a flash drive from my pocket small. Old. Label faded, but readable. Key RR 001 inch. I've got the decryption keys, I said. Voice steady. The system's not broken, that it's just sleeping. But the keys aren't on your servers anymore. The CEO's mouth opened, then closed. No sound. It's not illegal, I added. The license terms from 2016 give me rights to core architecture I personally developed, all documented. Dead silence. So wake it up, the CEO said, and I looked at him. Then at Preston. Then back. I'll need to review my options first, I said calmly. Make sure everything's aligned. The VP of infrastructure looked like he might throw up. Doug. People are losing money every second this is down. I know, I said. That's why you should probably get your legal team and CFO in a room that I'll send over some terms. Then I walked back to my desk, sat down, opened my personal laptop. 9:42 a.m. while panic filled the boardroom. I wrote one email that in a message body, just an attachment, terms clear, simple, compensation for value they tried to erase. I hit send, closed the laptop, didn't check replies. Already knew .by 10:17a. Preston was being walked out. 2 security guards. Tablet clutched to his chest. Nobody saved him. .by 10:40a. HR sent a company-wide email. Corporate language for, "We screwed up." The VP of infrastructure was gone by lunch. Vanished. My phone buzzed. Text from the CFO. Payment processing. Restore systems immediately. I finished my coffee first. Let them sweat. 5 more minutes. Then I walked back to the server room. Sat at the terminal. Typed the unlock sequence. Systems woke up. Dashboards loaded. Billing flowed. Heartbeat restored. Because I never broke anything. I just reminded them who kept it alive, that I didn't go back to my desk. Didn't pack a box. Didn't say goodbye. I walked straight out to my truck. Barely noon on a Friday, and I was done with that place. When I pulled into the driveway, my wife was in the kitchen, laptop open, reading glasses on. She looked up. "You're home early." "Yeah," I said, setting my bag down. "I quit." She closed the laptop. "They pay you." "The wire hit 20 minutes ago." She studied my face. "How much?" "Enough," I said quietly. "Sarah's tuition is covered. Your surgery's covered. We're okay." She stared at me for a long second. 23 years of marriage. She could read me like server logs. "What did you do, Doug?" I poured myself a glass of water. Took a slow sip. Reminded them what happens when you forget who actually keeps the lights on. She smiled small. "Real. I'm proud of you." That hit harder than anything that happened that morning. "Now, go mow the lawn," she added. "It looks like a jungle." Back to normal, that's what I needed. That evening, my phone rang. Phil Point, one of the guys they laid off, Doug. I just got an email from HR. Says my position's being reinstated with back pay. Pause. You know anything about this? Must have been part of the deal, I said. Silence. You did this? The company did, I said. I just suggested they make things right. His voice cracked. My kid starts college this fall. This saves us. Good, I said. You earned it. When we hung up, something loosened in my chest. Preston getting fired was satisfying. Getting paid was necessary. But that felt like winning. Monday morning, I set up my home office properly. Filed LLC paperwork. Brennan Infrastructure Group. Clean. Simple. Ordered business cards. Built a no-nonsense website. .by Tuesday. I got my first call. CTO from a Fortune 500 company. We watched what happened, he said. We need someone who actually knows how systems work. What's your rate? He asked. 50,000 monthly retainer, I said. 6-month minimum. Done. By the end of the week, I had 3 clients, all prepaid. Turns out there's good money in being the guy who actually understands a machine. Saturday afternoon, I sat on the back deck, bourbon in my tumbler, sun going down, grass cut, fence stained, normal life stuff. My phone buzzed. Text from my son. Dad, heard you started your own company. That's awesome. Can you teach me some of that infrastructure stuff? I smiled. Come by next weekend, I typed. I'll show you. My wife came out with a glass of wine. Sat next to me. Feel better? She asked, getting there. She raised her glass. You earned it. Yeah, I said. I guess I did. Somewhere downtown. They were probably still trying to figure out how I pulled it off. Good luck with that. Some lessons don't come from online MBAs or fancy slide decks. They call me legacy. Old school. A dinosaur. Said I was holding them back. Funny thing is, old school still knows how to teach new lessons. Systems don't run on vibes. They don't run on confidence or finger guns. They run on people who show up when things break. People who stay late. Who miss dinners. Who know what to do when everything goes dark. They forgot that. They won't again. Thanks for watching. And remember, never underestimate the person who built the foundation, that they're usually the only one who knows how to shut the whole thing down and bring it back to life.